I had this phrase called apathy is my best friend, where I basically kind of disassociate myself with my current emotions so I could deal with the current problem. Because, well, if you're so used to handling everyone else's emotions, then your own starts to feel like a nuisance. I'm 20 years old and I live in the Philippines near suburban areas.
Meet Alicia Meneses Maples.
You're here. I am so happy to see you.
Her TEDx talk has set a global viral trend about glass children. She's helped millions of hurting glass children around the world feel seen. You've seen her on NBC, CNN.com, and countless online articles. Here is your host, Alicia Meneses Maples.
Welcome to the I See Glass Children podcast. This is the place where we boldly dig into all things related to the glass child experience. We own our stories without shame, we pursue our healing, and we claim our value independent of others' thoughts, feelings, or expectations. Because you are important to me, I have to give you a warning. Some of the things you hear on the I See Glass Children podcast may be triggering for you, especially if you experience childhood trauma and neglect. And while I will occasionally have mental health professionals as special guests, I am not a licensed therapist, and this podcast is never meant to be a substitute for a supportive and healing relationship with a professional counselor. I'm your host, Alicia Meneses Maples. I am a glass child, and I see you. Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Meneses Maples. Welcome to the I See Glass Children podcast. And I'm so excited because in this episode, I have someone named May who has chosen to be anonymous with us, who's willing to share her story of what it's like for her to grow up as a glass child. Thank you for being here, May.
Thank you for having me.
So May, so that we can give our audience a little bit of context, I want to ask you just a couple of questions. So if you could share your age and the country where you grew up with your sibling.
I'm 20 years old and I live in the Philippines near suburban areas.
All right, fabulous. Thank you. And May, could you tell us a little bit about your sibling and your sibling's diagnosis?
Oh yes, my sister, she is diagnosed with a condition called psoriasis. Other names can go for skin asthma. Like if she's stressed or freaked out, she will flare up into rashes and abscess, and that will make her sick.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And is she older, younger than you?
She's older than me. She's 25 years old.
And do you remember what it was that happened that made you understand, okay, something's different here?
When there were so many scheduled appointments for the doctors, and me seeing my sister getting angrier and angrier, along with my parents' stress. Like, they didn't show it, but you could just feel that something was weighing us down.
And you didn't know exactly what it was.
No one told me. All they said was that she's sick and she needs help.
I'm taking a deep breath because I'm trying to imagine what it's like to be a 7-year-old little girl and to feel that something has shifted and something has changed, but not to have any information. I mean, did they explain what the sickness was?
They only said that she has rashes, and that's the extent that they told us. They didn't really tell us anything until we reached 10 years old, where they finally explained everything.
What prompted them to have that conversation with you?
It's because I kept asking, like, what's wrong with her? Why are you always going out to the doctors? Is this more than just a sickness? Is she actually hurt?
So you didn't know if she had something that was causing her to die or if it was something else.
No, not really.
How did that make you feel as a child?
It confused me a lot as a kid. especially because they didn't really tell us anything. Our sister would sometimes get angry because we didn't know certain stuff, and every time we tell them, um, like, "Hey, why is she angry with us? Is there something we don't know?" They would just say, "She's just sick." That's it.
All right. How did your sister's illness impact you when you were growing up?
It impacted me a lot, actually. I had to give up so many things because her sickness is tied to her emotions. So if we even made her feel slightly negative, it might cause a flare up. So I had to give up playing outside, talking about schoolwork, just general stuff that you would go outside because she would get jealous and that might cause a flare up. So I just stayed inside. Also, because I stayed inside a lot, so I could easily tend to her.
So it sounds like from what you're saying, she was not able to go outside. Is that right?
No,
If she went outside, what would happen?
well, she has a hard time walking because with the so many rashes, it stiffened her legs. So she can't really walk that much anymore. I remember that if we have to go out, we have to carry her on our backs or they have to procure a wheelchair.
My goodness. So as a child, you gave up being outside in the sunshine and nature and things like that because you were afraid that she would get jealous and that could cause a flare up. How else did her illness impact you when you were growing up?
Because of her illness, I noticed she was a lot angrier, a lot sadder actually. I guess she was depressed because I remember her when at the peak of her illness, she told me to tell our father that she doesn't want to live anymore. I was around 9 at that time.
May. What did you do?
I told dad, and I don't know what happened afterwards, but yeah, no, I don't know what happened afterwards because I wasn't there and they didn't tell me.
Yeah. How did you feel when she asked you to share that with your father?
Uh, it felt uncomfortable, really. It was my first exposure to some sort of suicidal ideations.
How did your father react when you passed the message on to him?
He was silent for a moment before walking back into the house, maybe to talk to her.
Did he say anything to you?
Nope.
Wow. I want to sit with this. You're 9 years old.
Yep.
You're a little girl. Your older sister says to you, go tell our father that I don't want to live anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that made you feel. And then you went and told your father, and your father didn't say anything to you, just walked into the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I'm still bummed about it, but I learned to just, mm, what do you say? Deal with it, I guess, or accept it.
You learned to cope.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if my coping strategy is good.
I can tell you finding good coping strategies can be challenging when you're a glass child. You know, I've met some siblings like you and me who had brothers and sisters with either medical conditions or cognitive conditions, behavioral conditions, and they're very fortunate in that their parents were able to see them and understand that they had issues. And I call them typical families, that's what parents do is they're spending time with their children, teaching them coping skills for when they reach adulthood. And so for us, what tends to happen is the skills that we learn as kids to survive come with us into adulthood. And what served us really well when we were children are not necessarily positive things for us when we become adults. Is that something you can relate to at all?
I can relate because the only coping strategy I think they've ever given me is to just ignore it.
How do you feel about that as a coping strategy?
I think I took it to heart because I had this phrase called apathy is my best friend, where I basically kind of disassociate myself with my current emotions so I could deal with the current problem. Because, well, if you're so used to handling everyone else's emotions, then your own starts to feel like a nuisance.
Everyone, I want you to listen to this. When you are so used to dealing with everyone else's emotions, your emotions begin to feel like a nuisance. So, how do you feel about your own emotions today, May?
Mm, I generally think that I've mostly lived all my life with apathy. It's just so when something wrong comes up, I'll be calm enough to fix it.
Mhm.
I can't really remember the last time I felt extreme joy, I guess.
Mm. I wish I was there right now so I could give you a giant hug.
Mm, thank you.
Joy would be a wonderful thing to experience, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
Are you receiving any type of therapy or counseling to help you with the experiences that you had growing up?
Well, we did went to a mental health hospital for me, and I was put on a high risk. But I didn't really get any consulting therapy or something. They just gave me medicine.
I think that the world doesn't see us and does not understand what it's like to grow up the way that we grow up. So that is the purpose of my asking all the questions that I'm asking and doing this podcast. What was it that happened that prompted you to go into a mental hospital to receive help?
Well, my original intention was to get my sisters into a mental health hospital because I felt like they're the ones who needed it the most. To my surprise, when we got in, I was literally told that I was high risk.
Did they tell you why they thought you were high risk?
Basically, they give you a form to fill on what's your, what's your chief complaints, I guess. Why you came to the hospital. I written mine down as something like suicidal ideation, and I think I wrote something else that made them take me from the lineup and brought me to a separate room to tell me that they're gonna put me in the ER.
How did your parents respond?
They acted as typical as you would if you get the bad news. They tried to comfort me.
So they didn't make you feel bad about it. They actually came to help you.
But I knew if I told them the reason why I might be high risk, they would not like it.
So you were protecting them.
Yep.
Have you protected them for most of your life?
I acted as the mediator for most of my life. Like if there's an upcoming argument or something that might cause a stir, like stress, I'd be quick to butt in to try and calm the situation down. I
So,
think I did that behavior when um, what caused me to go be the mediator was the constant fighting of my parents and the fact that I caught my sister trying to self-harm.
So there was a lot that was happening in your home. You had your sister who had this skin issue and skin disease. You had your parents who were fighting a lot with each other, it sounds like.
Hmm.
And was it the same sister who was doing self harm or a different sister?
The same sister.
Same sister doing self harm. And you were seeing all of this as a child.
Yeah, I was around 10 at that time.
Was there anybody that was there to support you?
I think my twin.
Okay. Yeah. So, was there any adult that was able to help you or comfort you?
Um, I didn't want to do that because the last time I did, I got chided, like for saying you should have been stronger. You're lucky because you're not sick.
So you sought out help at one point. How old were you when you asked for help, May?
11.
And you were trying to find a counselor or
I just told mom how I feel like, um, Mom, I'm scared of growing up because I feel like I wouldn't be a good adult and I didn't really had a fun time being a kid. She told me that you shouldn't feel that way because you're lucky you're not as sick as your sister who can't go out. You should be more like your cousin who is stronger. Something like that. Apparently it's a memory I disassociated from because I forgot, but my sister remembers, my twin sister, because she was there with me.
it sounds like you learned at a young age to that your feelings and emotions were not important.
Mm-hmm.
I want to share some things with you, May. Your feelings and emotions are very important.
Mm.
Your feelings and emotions have value. They have worth, and you deserved just as much attention as your sister did. That's what you deserved. And I am sorry that you didn't receive the kind of support and help that you needed when you were growing up. I'm glad that your parents were supportive of you after you went into the hospital. Are you continuing to get help now?
Yes, I have a consultation at Me Too.
All right, that's great. Are your parents still saying some of the same kinds of things, like you shouldn't be feeling this way, or are they being more supportive now?
They're more supportive, definitely, but the reason they probably won't say that you should be lucky, it's because I don't speak up. I don't really tell them how I what I truly feel anymore.
Because if you did, what would happen?
For one, if my older sister would hear it, she might feel like a burden. I don't want her to feel that way. And if I tell my parents, they'll probably not look at me the same way.
Do you think they would love you less?
Probably.
I hope that is not true. I hope that if you shared how you felt, they might be heartbroken because they love you and they don't want you to hurt. But I hope that they wouldn't love you less.
Mm,
I'm going to read to you some, let me back up and give you some background. So, in all these years that I have been speaking and advocating for glass children, I have done what we're doing today, just in a different way, collected stories. And what is so mind blowing to me, May, is that regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of the country or culture, there seem to be some things that are the same for all of us. So I'd like to read some statements to you and see if you
mm,
can relate to any of these. Would that be okay?
yeah.
All right. So let me grab this. Got to put on my glasses so I can see. Okay. And you may not relate to any of these, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I expressed difficult emotions, my parents told me things like, stop crying, calm down, you're overreacting.
Oh yeah, that's actually quite common.
It happens a lot.
Mm. More specifically, the you're overreacting part.
You hear that most often.
Mm-hmm.
When I did express difficult emotions, I heard, think about how your sibling feels.
Wait, that's what I hear most often.
Really? Tell me more about it.
Well, if you express some Like when I'm doing something fun or something like related to outside, they would always bring up, "Oh, you're so lucky because your sister couldn't come," or "You're so lucky you'll be able to do this because your sister can't." Or like, if I express something I didn't want to do, they would go, "Think of your sister. She can't do it, so therefore you do it."
How did that make you feel?
Mm, unheard.
One of the common things that people have said to me is this: I believed it was selfish of me to bring up my emotions.
Yep. In my case, it truly is because my sister already felt like a burden. I didn't want her to think that way, so I just kept it to myself.
So, what we just talked about, those things, uh, it's called emotional invalidation. Are you familiar with the term gaslighting?
Yeah.
So when you're expressing your emotions to somebody and they gaslight you and say you're overreacting, you shouldn't feel that way, etc., that is called emotional invalidation. When a parent says to their child, why are you complaining? You have nothing to complain about. Think about how your sister feels. For me, it's like, think about how your brother feels. I remember I heard, at least you can go to school. At least you can have friends. Your brother's dying. He can't have any of those things. That's called comparative emotional invalidation. And both of those things teach us incorrectly that we don't have the right to our feelings. We don't have the right to our emotions. And that's why I want to affirm to you, May, your emotions are valuable. Your emotions are normal. They're not good. They're not bad. They're just feelings. And God made us with feelings. So I encourage you. I'm so glad that you're in counseling and that you're going to go into counseling and get therapy, because that will be a place, hopefully for you, a safe place where you can share what your feelings are.
Hmm.
I have a few other statements. Is it okay if I keep sharing some of these with you?
Yes, please. It's actually really nice
Okay. Tell me, May, what is nice about hearing these things?
that I'm not alone, that my feelings are real, and that they exist. Because my coping strategy was not good because I felt like my feelings weren't real. I started self-harming to so I could tell myself, yes, it's real. Look, it's real. So hearing these statements is kind of nice.
It's affirming.
Hmm.
You're not alone. You're not alone. Let me read some more. Okay. I'll read several of these and then just kind of stop me when there's something you want to share. And again, some of these may apply to you and some of them may not. All right.
Hmm.
I received praise based on how much I helped my sister. I was afraid that if I wasn't perfect, I was failing my family.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I do something wrong or something like a mishearing something, they tend to pick apart every single wrong thing that I'm doing, even towards chores. Like if I don't do it their way, they say it's wrong or stuff like that. And I have a big family, so all of them have different ways of cleaning. But I can't stick to one because I would ask the other one for how do you do this, like sweep the floors. They would say, "Oh, do this." I would do it, and then another one would come in and would say, "No, you're doing it wrong." So they would teach me their way, and so on and so forth.
So this is going to blow your mind. And to the audience who's listening, I'm going to say I've never met May before. This is the first time that May and I have met and talked.
Mm-hmm.
This is not coordinated. Let me read to you the next two statements. If I performed well, then I was left alone and ignored. If I did not perform well, I received excessive negative attention.
Yep.
And the last one here is I felt constant pressure to be perfect.
Yeah, it still affects me to this day. It really holds me back from anything I want to do in fear of messing up,
Fear of failure.
fear of failure. Yeah.
So tell me, like, what kinds of things do you want to do that this is holding you back from doing?
I want to animate, I want to write, I want to paint, but I'm so scared of it turning out not good that, because the only time I ever got validation for my hobbies is when they think they can make money off of it, like a hustle.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of just the creative nature that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So those statements that I read, they fall under the category of performance-based worth. So what can happen, especially that lack of balance between feedback for the good things versus feedback for the mistakes that we make. I mean, I know lots of kids. Do kids make mistakes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plenty.
Everybody makes mistakes, right? So making a mistake is normal. What happens in high needs families, what's really common is this expectation laid on us to be perfect, to exhibit perfectionism. And so how we grow up is we grow up believing that our value is based on how well we perform. Our value is based on a lack of failure. And the reality is our value exists because we're created by God.
Mm-hmm.
That's where our value comes from, not because we're good at this or we don't fail at that. And I want to affirm that to you as well. It is okay not to be perfect. It is okay to make a mistake. And the more that you can tell yourself those things, the more you're going to get to explore your creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So the last few sentences, statements I want to read to you are, I felt pressure to minimize my parents' stress by behaving perfectly, not sharing difficult emotions, and being as helpful as possible.
Yep. That's the main thing I do. Like, and the thing is, if there was something wrong going on, I would try to talk my family down to like, it's okay, it's not a big deal, it's fine, I can handle it, see? And I try to fix whatever the problem is.
Let me keep reading.
Mm-hmm.
My parents looked to me for emotional comfort. I felt responsible for my parents' happiness.
Ooh, yeah, I relate to that too, actually. Because, um, I don't know if they know, but sometimes they would tell me things that, their own traumas, something like that. And I would just be there listening in, you know. So, and then after that, I would tell them that you're doing your best. It's fine.
You were parenting them. Am I right? Or
Yeah.
so you and I have never met. I have never shown you this piece of paper, right?
Hmm.
Let me read to you this sentence. My parents had adult conversations with me.
Yeah. It's pretty normal here, not just in high needs family. Most families here, because parentification of a child is way too common here. My mom was parentified. My cousins is being parentified right now. Also, some of my friends, if they have younger siblings, they're expected to take on the responsibility of babysitting them, taking care of them, and doing other things that involves, anything parents do. It's really common here.
So you're saying it's kind of a cultural thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it mostly targets older siblings, but it also can happen to siblings with disabled family members.
Is there a difference that you see between the parentification that happens in typical families and the parentification that happens in your family?
I think the differences are with a normal family, it's the older sibling who has to take care of the younger siblings while the mom and father is off to work. And it can get to the point where, yes, they are the third parent. But for glass children families, I feel like there's a lot more pressure around it because, and you're not really allowed to complain because they're disabled. With the kids, it's fine, but it's still expected of you. You're fine if you complain about taking care of your younger siblings because everyone's like, oh yeah, we know it's hard work. But for glass children, you're not allowed to say anything at all.
That's a good distinction. I wouldn't have thought about that because we don't complain because we want to protect our siblings' emotions. We want to protect our parents' emotions. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
One more set of things. Again, you may relate to this, you may not. I was responsible for assisting with my sister's medical needs, administering medication, cleaning equipment, etc.
That my parents do because my mom is a nurse and her friend, who's also a nurse, comes over and administers the medicine.
That's awesome. I'm glad for you about that. That's good. I was responsible for protecting my sister from dangerous situations, falling, running into traffic, sharp objects.
The sharp objects, yes, because she would try to self harm.
And you felt responsible for stopping her from that.
Yeah, I remember knocking down on the door of the bathroom, crying, begging her not to do it.
How old were you, May?
Oh, I think it was like 11 or 10.
How are you feeling right now? Are you doing
Mm,
okay?
yeah, I'm doing fine right now. But those statements really helped because it made me feel like my pain was real and it's not just in my head.
I'm so glad. It's not just in your head. I'm telling you, these statements have come from I've collected them from so many people all over the world, glass children. So yeah, it's valid. You're not making this up. You're not crazy. You're not, no. These
Mm,
this is part of the experience. So I have two last questions to ask you. Um,
mm.
the first question is, what advice would you give to parents who have a high needs child and who have a glass child?
Um, be upfront with it. Tell them what's really happening in ways that they can understand. Because if you just leave them in the dark, everything feels like unfair treatment. Also, don't dump your responsibilities on the kids. They're just kids. Don't do that. It'll mess them up.
How will it mess them up, May?
They will have to sacrifice a part of themselves, a part of their life for something that you have done. Because they didn't ask to be brought to this world with added responsibilities. It's the parents' responsibilities because they brought them into the world.
You said that so well.
Thank you.
Okay. What advice do you have for glass children?
Your feelings are valid. It's real. It's not just in your head. It happens. And it's okay to feel them. That's about it.
That's perfect. It's fantastic advice both to parents and to adult glass children. Is there anything else that you want to share with me, May?
Mm. When I was looking up feelings like, why do I feel angry with my sister who's disabled? Am I a bad person? Or why do I feel this way? Like, why does it feel like I don't care stuff? And one of the lists was glass children. And it's like, I read it and I was like, whoa, this describes what I went through. Plus, not only that, because I was trying to look up like middle child syndrome, because in the family, I'm kind of like the middle child. But since I had to take care of my sister, they designated me as the older sibling.
So when you found the term glass child, how did it make you feel?
I felt like I was seen. Like, yes, what I went through was real, and it's fine to feel the way I'm feeling. It felt so freeing.
That's awesome. I'm so glad.
My first exposure actually is your TED Talk.
Do you know, can I tell you, I didn't want to give that talk.
Whoa, why?
I was so scared. Like I I remember I was freaking out the night before. I said, I am not, this is nuts. I had never told my story before.
Oh,
Never told my story before. And I remember I was in bed and I had the covers pulled over my head and I was like, I am crazy. This is ridiculous. What am I thinking? I can't do this. I'm going to go on stage and I'm going to tell the whole world my story. I am nuts. And it was too late to back out.
so I see.
I did it, and I always tell people, never underestimate the courage that it takes to share your story, because you never know who it's going to help. Like, I had no idea that one day I would be talking to my new friend, May, who was impacted by that moment in 2010 when I stood on a stage scared to death and I shared my story.
I'm glad you did.
Me too. I'm so thankful that I did. How are you feeling? Remember, if you're struggling, reach out to a mental health professional. You do not have to do this alone. Thank you for being with me today, and don't forget to share this episode with your bestie, your therapist, your teachers, your minister. Sharing is caring, and hearing is healing. This is the I See Glass Children podcast. I'm Alicia Meneses Maples, and I see you. God sees you, and Jesus loves you.